From the trickiest trial chambers to the most perfect islands you'll ever spawn on, here are 25 seeds you have to try in Minecraft 1.21. Up first is a breathtaking seed that combines beautiful terrain, loads of old structures, and plenty of new structures too. You begin your journey in a small cherry forest surrounded by frozen peaks. You couldn't ask for a more chill start to your 1.21 adventure. Rise above your spawn mountain and you'll spot not one, but 4 villages surrounding you. It's the perfect seed for building a kingdom that surrounds your home base. Underneath your amazing spawn, you can find a few trial chambers too, including this one that you can find directly below one of your 4 spawn villages. We've got some insane trial chamber seeds coming up, including this one that spawns you directly under one. But first, if you'd rather live the peaceful life and hang out with some friendly new mobs, you have to give this seed a try. You spawn in a circular patch of savanna that is entirely surrounded by badlands and even comes with a village. If there was ever a spawn that was perfect for setting up an armadillo sanctuary, it's this one. After you've expanded this village into a ranch and given the armadillos an epic new home, stock up on loot from the exposed surface mineshaft, and maybe even explore this long winding cave to see what you can find in the depths below. But if caving is your thing, then this is the seed you need to try, because this is the most exciting cave spawn in the new update. You spawn right inside of a village where there's plenty of flowers, mountain views, and a cave entrance that is sure to elevate your heart rate. Jump over 150 blocks into the deep dark below, where you'll find a ruined portal that's right next to an ancient city, and that's not all. Simply dig through the walls of the city and you'll quickly enter a trial chamber where plenty of tricky trials await you. We all know that a new update is the perfect time to start a new world, but it's also the perfect time to start an epic survival adventure with your friends. The easiest and best way to do that is by grabbing yourself a Minecraft server from Wise Hosting. Wise Hosting has the most affordable server packages available, and they're super powerful too, so you know you'll always have smooth gameplay even on the most demanding Minecraft worlds. They've also got a really user-friendly game panel that gives you full control over your server. You can pick from a huge selection of mods and install them to your server with just one click, and you can easily change your server to any version you want, including the new 1.21 Tricky Trials update. And if you ever run into any issues, you've got 24/7 support, where you can get your questions answered quickly straight from your panel dashboard. So go set up your new 1.21 server at Wise Hosting now by clicking the link in the description, and go make some memories with your friends that will last forever. Use my code CHILL for 25% off, and then your squad is set for taking on all the tricky trials together. And now, let's get back to the seeds. If you want to turn the difficulty up a notch, hop into this seed, which spawns you directly below a trial chamber this time instead of above it. If you take a look around the cave walls, you'll have no problem figuring out where the chamber is. If you ever wanted to try a caves only survival challenge, this is the best seed to do it on the new update. Grab some loot from this submerged ruined portal and see if you can take on this trial chamber without ever making your way to the surface. From a limited survival experience to a survival world with unlimited potential, this is Minecraft's best all-biome survival seed, and it's got even better in the 1.21 update. Right by spawn, there's a huge mushroom field that is surrounded by every overworld biome that you could ever wish for. And now that there's loads of new wolf variants in all of these biomes, you could challenge yourself to explore the world and bring back all the different variants to your world's center mushroom island. And this island even has a trial chamber underneath it now too, which is even better. There are more mushroom fields on this seed that surround an epic spawn island that contains both a village and a woodland mansion. This island has so much potential to get your 1.21 adventure off to the best start. There are plenty of structures to take over and loot, plenty of space to build, including a river that would be perfect for bridging across, loads of caves to drop down into and explore, 4 different wood types to give you a variety of resources, and even a trial chamber underneath this island too. But if you're looking for a harder challenge in the new update, how about trying to survive on the most difficult village island spawn ever? This village island comes with no houses and no mainland for miles in any direction. All you've got is a couple of carrot farms, an iron golem, a few cats, and a camel. Although it is quite relaxing being surrounded by a giant coral reef ocean. The one biome you won't want to be surrounded by in the new update is a swamp, because it will be overrun with Minecraft's newest hostile mob, the Bogged. This seed spawns you in a village deep inside of a dense mangrove swamp. You'll have plenty of swamp villagers and a library, meaning that you'll have easy access to mending books right from the start. So if you're down to protect these rare villagers and mending books from the bogged, or just pretend that you're in the middle of a zombie apocalypse, this is the best seed for you. Up next is a seed that spawns you on a large bamboo-covered survival island with a cave that you need to explore. Head on through the epic open entrance into a lush cavern that would be perfect for turning into a port for transporting goods in and out of your island. Dig a little deeper under the cave and you'll quickly drop into a never-ending deep, dark and lush underworld that's hidden below your spawn island. You can even break through the cave walls and find a lush trial chamber down here too. But if you'd rather build on some peaceful plains before taking on the new trials, this seed gives you a beautiful and chill spawn that would be perfect for building your own civilization. There's so much space for buildings on these wide open plains, and they're entirely surrounded by cherry forest mountains, giving you a large enclosed area for all of your builds with amazing views in every direction that you look. With all this space, the opportunities for building are endless. But my favorite seed for building in Minecraft is this one, which has an incredible meadow crater where two giant lakes have merged together. There's nothing that beats the views from the top of these meadow walls. Just imagine how amazing this would look if you were to build a town all the way around the lake. This seed has gotten even better in 1.21 because of what you can now find at the bottom of the lake. Submerge yourself into the water and you'll easily be able to spot a trial chamber. I wonder if it's possible to find a more beautiful trial chamber location than this. But if you want 2 trial chambers for the price of 1, check out this seed that makes them super easy to find. You spawn on an abandoned village island right next to a ruined portal and an ocean monument. On the opposite side, you can find another abandoned village. It's very rare to find 2 abandoned villages this close together, and especially at spawn. Directly underneath both of these villages, you'll be able to find a trial chamber, and the double structures don't stop there. Hop into the nether, and you can even find 2 nether fortresses that have joined together to create the biggest fortress you've ever seen. But if you'd rather your village island spawn was a little colder, check out this seed that spawns you on a crazy, windswept ice bikes island in the middle of a frozen ocean. From houses at the very bottom that blend in perfectly with ice, to houses, farms, and spikes at the very top, this would be an interesting survival island spawn for the new update. There are even a couple trial chambers under the frozen ocean nearby, so maybe you could build some underground tunnels from your island to get to them. But if you're just looking for a chill and peaceful existence in the new update, I think this seed has the perfect location to call your new home. You start in a beautiful spruce forest where chestnut wolves roam and waterfalls and rivers flow. Just around the corner, you'll find a meadow hill that is just begging to be built on. Not only is it almost perfectly flat for your new home, but the views around it are just so serene. You can even spot a forest river island close by too, which would be a cool place to build. But if you really want to test your building skills in 1.21, you need to give this incredible mountain spawn a try. This seed spawns you into the biggest frozen peaks mountain range ever found in Minecraft. It's the largest continuous chain of frozen peak mountains ever, with over 1 million blocks of connected frozen peaks. And you spawn right in the middle of the mountain range in a breathtaking forest valley entirely surrounded by max height frozen peaks. There's even a separate mountain in the middle, which would be the ideal spot for a castle. What could you imagine building in this amazing location? But if you prefer a bit of chaos in your life, hop into this seed which spawns you super close to a triple structure combination which includes a pillager outpost, a ruined portal, and an abandoned zombie village. And underneath those structures, there's even a woodland mansion buried deep down in a cave. If you ever wanted an epic underground base or fancy entrance to your strip mines already made for you, this would be the perfect seed to try. The next seed spawns you underneath a beautiful birch tree overhang that gives me a real nostalgic vibe for some reason. The terrain just gives you so much inspiration for a unique starter base. It makes you feel like you're playing Minecraft for the very first time somehow. And once you've figured out what to build here, there's so much more to explore in this seed too. Underground you can find a mine shaft that literally goes on forever. Endless tunnels filled with an infinite supply of wood, treasure, rail, and spider spawners. This seed also even has a village floating above a sinkhole where you can find an exposed stronghold. Break a few blocks and you could jump from the village right into the end. But if you're down for possibly the hardest challenge of the new update, you should definitely give this one a try. Or maybe just use it to prank your friends because it spawns you right in the center of an ancient city deep below the surface. If you can escape from the city and make it to the cherry grove on top, you're probably a far better Minecraft player than I am. And if you were brave enough to take on that last seed, you might be crazy enough for this one too. Welcome to the Mushroom Trials. This seed spawns you in the middle of the ocean, surrounded by giant mushroom fields in all directions. All you've got is ocean and mushroom fields for thousands of blocks in every direction. Hiding in your spawn ocean surrounded by mycelium, you can find a few trial chambers and an ocean monument too. It's gonna be hard finding resources to take on these chambers, so you know the trials in this seed will be extra tricky. Before we get into the final 5 seeds of the video, this seed could be the perfect seed for trying out a bunch of 1.21's newest features. You spawn in a swamp where you can try your hand at taking on the Bogged, and just a few blocks away, you've got a ruined portal that is almost complete and a witch hut that you can find buried underneath a woodland mansion. And that's not the only structure below the mansion. Dig down through the basement and you'll drop into a lush ravine with an exposed trial chamber. But if you want an even easier seed for finding your first trial chamber, this is the jungle you need to spawn in. In this seed, all you have to do is dig straight down from the very first block you spawn on and you'll drop straight into a trial chamber. So mark your spawn point with some bamboo and head off into the jungle to gather your gear. Up next is a seed with a meadow village that sits above a cave that contains a ton of underground structures. You can even find 2 of the village's houses that have amazingly generated deep down in the dripstone cave. If you do a little digging to the right of this house, you'll find yourself in a stronghold. If you dig directly under the house, you'll find an ancient city. And on top of that ancient city, you can find a trial chamber. Plus there's loads of room for building in this cave and loads of beautiful terrain surrounding the village too. This seed also has a perfect cave for the new update, this time with a very special secret entrance. You'll spawn on top of a desert temple, and if you blow up the treasure room, the explosion will drop you down into a ruined portal at the bottom of a lush cave. Just to the side of that portal, you'll notice an unusually flat wall which is home to another trial chamber. This has got to be the best way to find a trial chamber in the new update. From epic underworlds to breathtaking overworlds, you need to check out what is right over this mountain at spawn. This seed spawns you in a savanna full of armadillos. It's gonna be your job to find as many of them as you can and lead them over the hill to their new home, because this is an armadillo's paradise. Right on the edge of the savanna is this stunning cherry grove mountain crater. There's something about the transition from the dull savanna grass to the bright cherry grove grass that really makes this area stand out and look full of life. But if you're thinking of taking on some tricky trials with a friend in the new update, I highly recommend this seed, where you spawn with 2 village islands that are almost identical. You and your friend can start with an island each, and you won't even have to fight over which one is better. Well, this one has a jungle tree, so this one is probably better. Around the islands, you can find a shipwreck, plenty of ocean ruins, a mangrove off in the distance, and as you get closer to the mainland, you can even find a 3rd village island too. The 3 closest villages to spawn are all on islands. What are the chances of that? If any of these seeds gave you inspiration to start a new world in the new update with your friends, remember to check out Wise Hosting for the best and most affordable server hosting out there by clicking the link in the description. And if you'd like to check out even more amazing Minecraft seeds, click on the next video.